We're talking about transformation of quadratic functions, and we're working with vertex form. We want to describe transformation of quadratic functions and write transformations of quadratic functions. So here we're going to start with f of x is the parent function. And the parent function is just x squared. And then eventually we want to get to j of x, which is the function that we have written down there at the bottom. So the parent function, we want to start with some values that we can pick, 0, 1, 2, and 3. Those are always good. 0 squared is 0. 1 squared is 1. 2 squared is 4. And 3 squared is 9. So we can graph those points. We have 0, 0. We have 1, 1. We have 2, 4. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. And we have 3, 9. 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm not going to graph the other side of this. We can just flip it over. I don't want there to be too much on the graph before we get to the final product. From this information, what we want to apply the scale factor. And the scale factor is only going to be multiplied by the y value. So now we're going to work on our scale factor here, or the a value. So we're going to focus on the a value here. And basically, all we're going to do is we're going to say negative 3, and we're going to multiply that by the y value. So the x value is not going to change. 0, 1, 2, and 3. That's always going to be the same. And now all we're going to do is we're going to say 0 times negative 3. That's still 0. 1 times negative 3 is negative 3. 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. And that's kind of off of our graph, so we can't really graph any further than that. But let's take a look at what that does to our graph. So 0, 0 is still our vertex. Then we're going to go over 1, down 3, over 1, down 3, 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to go over 2, down 12, over 2, 1, 2, down 12. That's 10, there's 11, and 12 right there. So now we have this function graphed, which is upside down because of the negative, and then it's really stretched out because of the 3. So instead of going over 1, up 1, we're going over 1, down 3. So it's getting stretched out by a factor of 3. Now the last thing we're going to do is we're going to do the translation. And this says, remember, our vertex is the value that we substitute in here and the value that we substitute in here. So it's always backwards for next to the x. So it says negative 1, but really this is going to be a positive 1 for the vertex. The vertex is going to be positive 1, and then the k value is straightforward, so our vertex is going to be at 1, 4. So all we're going to do is we're going to take all the x values and we're going to add 1, and we're going to take all the y values and we're going to add 4, and then that's going to be our graph. So 0 plus 1, 0 plus 1 is 1, 0 plus 4 is 4. That's our vertex again. So our vertex is 1, 4, our vertex was 0, 0, and our vertex was 0, 0. So those were all of our vertexes for the parabolas. Here we have 1 plus 1 is 2, negative 3 plus 4 is positive 1, and 2 plus 1 is 3, and negative 12 plus 4 is negative 8. And that will be all that we need to graph, and that will give us a great graph. So over 1, up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Over 2, up 1, so over 2, up 1. And over 3, 1, 2, 3, down 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there we have that. And then we can graph, well, before we graph that one side, let's draw the line of symmetry on there. So we have our line of symmetry. And now we can use our line of symmetry to figure out the other half of the graph. So over 1, over 1, over 2, 1, 2, over 2. And then we can graph both sides of the parabola for our finished product. All right, so then there we have our graph. So we started with the parent function f of x equals x squared. Then we got to the function -3 times x squared. And then eventually we got to j of x, which was -3 times the quantity x minus 1 squared plus 4. And we can take a look at that. Here we have the parent function, which is graphed there. And when we make these edits to the parent function, we see that when we add in the scale factor, it flips the graph over. And then when we say that we do -1, that moved everything to the right one. And then the last step was add 4. And that moved the graph. It was over here, then it moved the graph up to 1, 4 as the vertex.